Hello and welcome to our first show here at GYVOCY. That stands for Generate Youth and Vale of Clwyd Youth. In today's show, you should expect live music from me, Glyn Watson. There will be an opportunity for, well, not an opportunity, but I will be telling you what this week's youth challenge is for you, something for you to participate in. There will be an interview with the amazing Stephen Landon. He will be talking to us about his experience with COVID-19 over the last, at least 3 months. Then you'll have, during the whole show, you can have your opinion. You can share your opinion with me on the comments at the bottom of this video, or of this live show, may I say. So, you may also notice at the bottom there that it says My Challenge. Now, as it's the first week, well, there isn't a set challenge for me this week, but you can share with me through the comments down below what you would like me to do, but more about that in a bit. But let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Glyn Watson and I'm the youth worker at Sussex Street Christian Centre. Welcome, with a face this time, to the channel. Now, the reason why we're doing this channel, or the reason why I've decided to create this channel, is ultimately for you guys to have something to watch, but I understand that there'll be many things on YouTube that you enjoy, and we hope that you enjoy this particular show. It's not about me, it's about the people that I interview, because I think they've got a lot to share based on their experiences of life so far. Now, let's get into a few things here. That is, who am I? I've already given you a little bit of who I am, but I just want to say, or I want to ask you, how old do you think I am? You can potentially leave your comments in the comment section down below, but I've already explained that I am Glyn Watson, the youth pastor at Sussex Street Christian Centre in Rill, and hopefully quite a few of the young people. I can't tell right now because I've got none of the stats up, but I hope they're all watching. But if you are new to, if you have never seen me before, you may have seen me in Rill High, in Ysgol Glan Clwyd, in St Asaph, or maybe in Christ the Word, or you may have seen me on the street. You may have seen me in McDonald's or Subway, or just around the general place. But I want to say welcome. Now, my challenge, this is what I was talking about before, that there isn't one set for me this week, but this is an opportunity for you to tell me what you'd like me to do. So, the sort of things that I'm looking for, without wanting to give you too many suggestions, but if you set me a task to do, like, let's say, wax my leg, yeah, then I'll do it. But there are a few things, like T's and C's, terms and conditions. Now, any suggestion that you make, it cannot be illegal, okay? It cannot be unsafe. I cannot put my life in danger, okay? It cannot be immoral. And what I mean by that is just completely unethical, okay? Like stealing or going to punch someone in the face, okay? Because that would make it unsafe for the other person as well. Now, also, not that I'm trying to look after myself or my body, okay? But it cannot be overtly fattening, like eating a whole sort of block of butter, okay? I think I draw the line. I will quite happily attempt to do a Bruce Bogstrotter from Matilda, where I can eat a whole chocolate cake, but I draw the line at eating raw ingredients such as a block of butter. I think you'd understand that, or lard for that matter. Okay, but if you've got any suggestions of the sort of things that sort of meet that criteria, then feel free to drop those suggestions at the bottom in the comment section. And then by the end of this show, so this is why you need to get tapping away and commenting and sharing your ideas, is that by the end of the show, I will have an idea as to what people are saying and what people would like. Now, there will be reminders throughout the show for you to be able to do that, but don't worry about the Menti that's mentioned here. don't worry about Menti, that is something that we're going to be growing into, but I'm just making you aware of it at this particular moment in time. Great. So let's move on. Yes. Now let's move on to our song, the first live song by me, and here it is. Let me just move into position. Oh, there it goes, and let's go. You'll know this as Lean on Me. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm going to need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you don't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm going to need somebody to lean on. So just call on your brother when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm going to need somebody to lean on. Oh, if there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road, I'll share your load if you just call me. Call me, call me if you need a friend. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Let's move back. Excellent. So, now it's your turn. This is where I get to be not cruel, but I get to set you a challenge to do during the week. And I have a short clip for you, which will give you a bit of an idea as to what I'm looking for. So, if I just scoot back into the screen, and then you can have a gander at the sort of thing that I'm looking for this week, which is boo. Any ideas so far? Any idea? No? Okay. Oh, technical rough and ready works here. Okay.
What? Ow.
Naked bud.
Look!
Okay, so I think that's enough. There is a lot more, but I understand that these you may think, well, this is kind of inappropriate, Glyn, but I have a few things to lay down here. Is that I want you to record a video of you simply just giving your someone in your family a bit of a scare, but make sure that whoever it is that you're giving a short little jolt to doesn't have any heart conditions or underlying sort of health conditions. So just be careful, be aware of that. Have some fun, but also don't scare them into a complete panic and frenzy. So post your videos on the Gen Youth VOCY Facebook page, and then you can vote on who is the funniest during next week's show. Let's give it a go, guys. So let's move on. Our next bit, well, I think it is the bit that I've been looking forward to for at least a week now. Is the interview, but yeah, I'm just reminding you, your challenge, or my challenge rather, enter your suggestions of what you would like me to do. I've just set you a challenge to go and scare a member of your family or whatever, a sibling, and I want you to do the same to me. I want you to set me a challenge. As long as it's not illegal and safe, immoral or fattening, I will do it, and then the suggestions that you place in the comment section down below, we will see them, and then it will be chosen at the end of the show. So, now, let's get on to the interview. Now, let me just click over because I need to just change a few things. I'll just move this here so you can watch me work without being distracted by what I'm doing on screen. So, before I welcome Steve, because that's the person I'm talking to today, as you can see him there, I'm going to turn my camera on so he can see me, and I'm going to zoom in a little more so you can, hopefully, we'll do a grid view or gallery view, and then you can see us. Hello! Okay, so, hello Steve, how are you, my friend? Are you well? Okay, you possibly need to unmute yourself. Great. Okay, so just before we get going, actually, tell you what, I won't do the introductions this time. You do the introductions, Steve. So, who are you, Steve? And where'd you come from?
Is this just between you and me now, or?
Oh no, this is the one. This is the bit. So don't panic.
Right, sorry. So I'm Stephen Landon. I currently live in Wrexham, and married, 4 children. I'm at the young age of 39. And
what do you do, Steve?
So I'm a firefighter.
Oh, great.
So that's my full job.
Yep. And obviously you enjoy that, don't you? You enjoy being a father, a husband, a son to 2 very kind parents, and a brother to a lovely sister, and 2 great brothers. Is that right? Will you agree with all that?
I wouldn't say they're great brothers, but they're brothers.
Well, from my experience, you've had to live with them for a prolonged amount of time, haven't you? You've grown up with them, so you know everything about them and so on. But from what I know and from what I've witnessed, they're great people, and so are you, Steve. And to be fair, I've known you for a good number of years, and you know I think you've got a bit of a reputation, haven't you? A good reputation, may I add. So do you want to sort of explain the sort of things you do at summer camps and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I'm known for being a little bit out there, a little bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of energy, and I enjoy doing the Urban Saint camps. I've been doing it since I was 17, actually. So that's 22 years, but it was Crusaders when I first started going.
Mm.
But yeah, I love doing drama. Love acting, so yeah, I've done quite a lot of drama in my past, and currently. But yeah, so at the kids' camps, I do a lot of upfront stuff with Phil Lord, and yeah, I'm just known for being a little bit crazy.
Yeah, you love doing dramas during summer camps and so on. And to be fair, I mean, it's absolutely mental at the moment with the whole lockdown, and summer camps have had to be cancelled, haven't they? So I'm sure you're absolutely gutted.
Yeah, because we've missed the odd year or two just because of work commitments and stuff. But no,
Yeah.
yeah, we were there last year and the year before, and yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Really good family time together. Um, yeah, it's just a really good environment there. Safe environment, place where we can, as a family, we can all worship together. Lots of stuff on for the kids. Great food. I know they cook well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just they're really good camps. Really good camps. So
Good.
yeah, bit sad that they're not on this year.
Okay, so for those who are watching, I didn't introduce Steve, but he is a survivor, not just of many fires and many emergencies, is called out from being a fireman, but also a survivor of a pretty serious case of COVID-19, and I think I'm going to allow Steve to explain his experience from the beginnings of the symptoms to when he was, admitted to hospital, and the ordeal for however long that he says he was in for. So I'm going to hand over to Steve, and he's going to just explain and give his testimony, his story of where he's been, what he's been through. So over to you, Steve.
Okay, so COVID-19, it's I. So I don't fit in the typical category of COVID-19. I got very, very ill with it. And when it first came about, me and Becky, my wife, were saying, if we get it, we're going to be fine because we're both very fit. I mean, we do Tough Mudder every year. We like walking up mountains. We go to the gym a lot. I mean, at work, I train a lot. So we don't fit into the stereotypical people who would get as ill as I was with it. I've got no underlying issues, and so we're still learning a lot about the disease. But basically, I got flu-like symptoms, cold-like symptoms, and it went on for a couple of days. And I just thought, yeah, it's just a bad cold. Got worse and worse, and it was, I think, 2 days prior to being admitted to hospital, I really took a turn for the worse. I was lying on the couch, and that was basically all I did. I'd lost so much energy. I'd become really weak. I just felt really, really ill. And Becky, my wife's a nurse, and she was keeping an eye on me. But the second night and the first night before I was admitted, I was that weak that I ended up collapsing twice. And it was then that Becky thought something's not right here. Me being the person I am, was like, oh, it'll be fine, I'll get over it.
Yeah.
But come the Saturday, I was that ill. I collapsed twice up till then. Becky phoned GP, and he said, yeah, you need to ring 999. They came and they said, yeah, my SATs were 82 or 3, which is really low. And they basically said, yes, we need to take you in. Now that was quite a sad ordeal for my children, because they're used to seeing this big, strong firefighter who throws them over his shoulder and fights with them, and And actually, I said to the paramedic, "It's okay, I'll walk to the ambulance." But as I was walking, I collapsed again, just because I was so weak, and they ended up having to wheel me in a wheelchair. So that was almost the start of my COVID journey, and it was quite daunting. You know, it was upsetting for my kids to watch that.
Yeah.
So in hospital now, I was on a normal ward while I was tested for COVID-19. And it was 24 hours later, it came back, positive. I kind of knew that anyway because I was in such a bad way. And I unfortunately quickly deteriorated. So then I got that ill. And so with COVID-19, it affects your respiratory a lot. So I was almost starved of oxygen. So I had, for a lot of the time, 100% oxygen. And I was on a mask called a CPAP mask. And it's a really uncomfortable, tight-fitting mask. So it digs into your nose, your bridge of your nose here, and it forces air into your lungs. Bearing in mind as well, I've got a needle phobia, which is one of the few things which bother me. But while in hospital, I'd given that much blood and had that many needles. It was what can I say? It was certainly a test. But so I was in hospital for just under 4 weeks, and my second week of hospital, I became that ill that actually it became unfortunately a fight for my life. It was I was that weak and ill. They were weighing at this whether to put me on a ventilator or not, and obviously if I went into a ventilator, that meant I'd have to be put into a coma, and I'd be completely reliant on machines. My lung collapsed while I was there, and having a needle phobia, when they brought out the needle, which was probably about a foot long. When I saw that, I didn't really know what was happening. I remember talking to Becky saying, "Oh, my lungs collapsed. They're going to give me a pneumothorax." And Becky, being a nurse, knew exactly what that was, and and I was a bit like blasé, thinking, "Oh yeah, okay, do it." And then we brought the needle out, and then
they put just shove it down.
I tell you what, it's a very painful, uncomfortable thing to go through. I had tubes and wires coming out of me left, right, and centre. I lost 3 stone in weight, and mainly through a lot of that was muscle because I was just bed bound. Reliant on oxygen. I mean, without it, I literally couldn't breathe. It was a lot of time you feel like you're suffocating because you just can't get enough oxygen in your lungs. So it was a very traumatic experience. So
it must be tough talking about it, mustn't it?
Yeah, so I've been out of hospital for 8.5 weeks, and I do get flashbacks, and I think it almost seems unreal. Like, did I actually go through that? And it's until I look at the pictures and some of the videos I made while there, I it kind of prompts me thinking, it was real. So from a Christian point of view, I can say I've got lots of stories. But I mean, I actually get more upset now when I think about it than when I was actually there, because when I think about how traumatic and the fact that I nearly lost my life, that I was in a real bad way and it was a bad situation. But yet, while I was in that situation, I almost felt at peace. I mean, being a Christian, I knew that God was always with me. And although the COVID-19 is a very lonely disease, a very lonely virus, because for a month, I wasn't able to see Becky. I wasn't able to see the kids, except for, on WhatsApp video. But yeah, so the only family I had or support I had physically was from the nurses and the doctors and consultants. And they were amazing. They almost became my family while I was in hospital. But throughout the whole situation, I never felt that God wasn't with me. And I knew so many people were praying, and even while I was in hospital, I'd get I'd get messages on my phone, words of encouragement, and they helped a lot. So you got another question?
Well, just pulling on a few things is, I think the gravity of the whole thing is it's your story, although it's personal because a lot of us know you, just like anyone who has had it knows a lot of people. You aren't
Yeah,
your case is one of many, and there have been over now 40,000 people who have died from this, and
yeah. I mean, I think it's probably
hundreds
close to
and
50
thousands
now.
of other
But
people who have contracted the virus and have luckily survived, like yourself, but have gone through a nightmare. And you know,
yeah, I mean,
I,
even so, even when I was yeah, the weirdest thing was as well because I'd lost that much muscle and strength.
mhm,
My first, I couldn't walk. I literally had to learn to walk again,
yeah,
and it was it's hard to explain. But I can remember even sitting up was hard work. And uh, if I had to sit up and put my legs over the bed, I had to mentally prepare myself while I was in hospital because even doing that, I'd just sit up, I'd get my legs off the end of the bed, and I'd be gasping, and it'd take me a few minutes for me to kind of get my posture back before I could move on to a different position.
yeah,
It was weird, just really little things.
mm,
It literally was like running a marathon because you used up so much oxygen just moving slightly. It was really strange experience when I look back at it. Um, but eventually, I started to get better. Um, while I was in hospital, though, they kept.
mhm.
I went in and out of ICU, the high dependency ward, 3 times.
Oh wow,
So
yeah,
they thought I was getting better. They put me back on a normal ward. Within 24 hours, I'd gone really ill again, back on the ICU ward. And it was the second time I went back into the ICU ward that my lung collapsed.
ooh,
And then they
mm,
thought I was getting better again. They put me back on the ward, and then I got ill again.
yeah,
Um, so, but anyway, um, yeah, it's really. I mean, what's sad as well because obviously I saw people who were as ill as me and some worse, and I saw people on ventilators. And even when you see people on the COVID wards, they were called,
yeah,
it is a nightmarish thing to look at and to go through. But on a positive, the NHS staff were amazing, and it was
mm,
always a joy when they came in to check on you.
yeah,
And when you're on the ICU ward, you've got a nurse with you 24/7, and it's so comforting. You really saw the compassion and the love that the staff showed, and that was, for me, who loves being with people and socializing and
yeah, yeah,
family that meant a lot to me.
yeah,
Um, And what was amazing, there was one time where I was taking a turn for the worse. I was coughing and choking. My sats had gone right down. I really couldn't breathe, and I was literally suffocating. And what got me through, obviously, prayer, people praying, but it was one of the nurses who actually happened to be a Christian.
all right, wow,
Um, he came and he was looking after me. He put his arm around me and he held my hand and said, "You're going to be all right." And that those words of affirmation and that physical touch actually pulled me through that moment.
yeah, yeah,
And it was, it's been a physical, spiritual, emotional battle,
yeah,
and it still is. It's still going on.
mm,
So when I came out of hospital, um, I was. It was amazing. Obviously, Becky came and picked me up. We cried, we hugged. She drove me home.
the big reunion,
But it was, but I've got 5 steps outside my house, and I could barely walk down them. I made it down, and I had to wait a few minutes to get my breath back
mm,
before I could see the kids because I didn't want to be so out of breath and when they opened the door. But
yeah,
they were shocked when they saw me because, as I said before, they're used to seeing this big dad who's strong and
Superman,
courageous and
say it, go on, Superman.
Superman, no fear, Superman. Yeah. I just, and yet Evie, my eldest daughter, she's 13, says, "You look like a frail old man."
Oh wow, that's
And,
yeah,
do you know what it was? And that's how I felt.
yeah,
And for the first couple of weeks, even sitting at the meal tables, sitting up straight was hard work because I couldn't get the breath. I had to be in a almost lying sit-up position. The first night being at home, unfortunately, I was that weak I couldn't make it upstairs, so I ended up sleeping downstairs. But it's 8 weeks, and the improvement I've made, and a lot of it, I've got to give thanks to God for the prayer and support I've had. I've been having physio, for the past 8 weeks and 2 weeks of hospital. And yesterday was my last physio appointment, and she has been, because she's seeing lots of COVID patients. Yeah. And from where I was to where I am now, she's amazed. Really? And normally the physios stay with people for months and months, but yesterday was my last physio, because she said to me, "There's nothing else I can do, because I've improved so much, and I can only, it's nothing short of a miracle." So I've still got a long way to go, and I'm not a very patient person when it comes to that disease to get. And the physios, doctors, Becky, they all keep telling me to slow down, and that's something that I've really had to learn, is to slow down and be patient, because I'm so used to being so physically fit. Yeah. And it just reminds you how vulnerable. It just reminds you how vulnerable we are as people. Within the. I've been training for years in my fitness for my job as a firefighter, and within the space of 3 weeks, it all got taken away from me. Yeah. Years of training, and within just 3 weeks, boom, all gone. Yeah. It just, you do realize how vulnerable you are as human beings, and So the journey coming home has been it's been it's been a test, but 8 weeks on, I'm now doing little jogs. I'm cycling. I'm lifting weights, only light weights. I'm up to doing 30 press-ups in a row. When I first came out, I was doing 3 or 4. So it's all coming back to me,
hasn't there? There's been a lot of progress.
Yeah.
And
massive.
Yeah. So it was a terrible situation that you have found yourself in. You are thankful to the NHS. You're thankful to the people who have supported you through it, sending text messages and sending videos, and the video calls that you've been able to make. Also, during your time there, you were interviewed as well towards the end, weren't you? You were asked to make a video for the BBC, and then you've been interviewed again for the BBC, haven't you? After being released.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? You've been set free from the COVID.
Well, it felt like it. Yeah. It did. Yeah. Yeah. The food wasn't the best in the care was amazing, but the food's terrible.
It's there to keep you going. Yeah. Now you've also just been interviewed for Songs of Praise. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did that go?
So basically,
was that a weird one? Who interviewed you, just out of interest? Was it Aled himself?
No, it wasn't. It was Jay Lustard from Chester Festival Church.
Oh, right, okay.
So he's a Songs of Praise presenter now.
Yep. That's excellent. Okay, so at least it was someone you knew, so you had a bit of a rapport with them.
Yeah. We've had a lot, loads of media coverage. So basically, Becky was keeping people updated on Facebook. And people were asking if they could share the story, because obviously it's a massive thing.
Yeah.
People go through, and people were just so shocked that somebody like, without sounding big-headed, but someone like me who's known for being strong and fit, and to be hit so hard and taken out like that. And plus, we're both key workers. Becky's a nurse. I'm a firefighter. People wanted to share it and know more and follow us. So we had it got shared, I don't know how many times, and I got messages from people, and lots of people from America saying they're praying for us. The church has been praying. I got messages from people all over the world just saying that thoughts are with us, and for whatever reason, BBC got hold of it, ITV got hold of it. I think I've been in pretty much every paper you can think of. I had I had a message from a friend in Birmingham saying, "I've just seen you in the paper there." I was like, "All right." I was even in the Sun paper,
Oh,
but I didn't make page 3.
no. Good.
Yeah, so we've had massive coverage, and it mainly because the title has read "Fit Firefighter Fighting for His Life," all
Yeah,
this, and you know what the
yeah.
media's like, they do kind of, but it wasn't blown out of proportion. But it's a key worker, someone
Yep.
yeah.
But
Um,
you're
and
also
so
a success story as well, aren't you? You're something to cheer about in all
yeah,
the doom and gloom, in all the
yeah,
scary information that's coming out about numbers. You were a success story, and they lynched on, they clamped onto you as
yeah,
some sort of bright light. And you do have a good backstory, and especially with the health prior to COVID and then after, and now your recovery. Even though it'll
yeah.
take a while, I would imagine that you may get another call from the BBC just a year on or so on. That would be kind of interesting. Have a documentary from
Yeah.
Trevor McDonald interviews Steve Landon after COVID or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, so 2 things were said to Becky when she picked me up by 2 consultants.
Mm-hmm.
One of them said to Becky that my fitness saved my life,
Yeah.
and another consultant said I'm lucky to be leaving.
Wow.
And that in itself is a testimony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the media coverage. So we had, when I came out, BBC got hold of this video, and it was quite an emotional video. It's
It
one
was.
I'd sent to Becky. And then we were on BBC Radio. We've been on BBC Radio twice. We've been on BBC Breakfast National
Yeah.
Morning and BBC Wales.
Yep.
We've been on ITV Wales twice.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, BBC have actually got back to me, and they've been asking me to video my recovery because,
Okay.
it's
Oh well, there
going to
you
be
go. So
yeah, the hope. Yeah, like you said, the hope story is that I nearly didn't make it,
yeah,
and it was a 50-50 chance, but yeah, I pulled, I did. So it does bring hope to other people that, there is, someone like me has got that ill but made it through,
yeah,
and there's hope for other people. And obviously a lot of it I'll give credit to God.
yeah. Well, that kind of brings it to a nice place where I can kind of sum up, but draw things from what you've said, and I think you hit the nail on the head that you're so thankful to God for this sort of stuff. But just going back, winding back a little bit, you said that you look back now and think, oh, was that just a dream? Did that really just happen? And then you the realization of it kicks in again, and then you're transported back. How do you think the hope that you have in your faith and in Jesus and God being Father, a good Father who wants the best for his adopted children, you and I, how do you think that helped you mentally when, how do you think that helped you mentally get through it? Because you do hear a lot of stories of people losing their minds a little bit and going a bit,
Yeah.
Hallucinating and stuff. But was there something that helped you keep mentally strong in that? Was it faith? Was it the fact of the knowledge that there was a nurse always there, or was it a culmination of all things?
So I'm going to say it's a combination.
Okay, that's fine.
But I can say all things work for the glory of God for those who love Him. I believe God put the right people there to look after me, and God guided their hands, gave them wisdom on how to look after me. Mentally, I think if you weren't a Christian and you couldn't get your family to be with you, I don't think I would have coped. But the fact is that I am a Christian. I am someone who's got a faith. I know I got a loving Father who looks after me. I didn't get this virus because of anything that God had done. It happened.
Yeah.
But yet God was there with me to help me through it. Never once did I feel alone, because I knew in my heart that God was with me. And I think as a Christian, that alone itself is a comfort. If I wasn't a Christian, I don't know who would I turn to. You know, where if you can't get your friends and family around you, you have got no one else. And I think for those who aren't Christians, who are on the ward with me, you know, it's, as I said, it's a very lonely disease.
Yeah.
But I was thankful that I know that I had God with me, and that gave me peace.
Yeah.
And, you know, many verses came to mind while I was in hospital. The battle belongs to the Lord. Jeremiah 29 verse 11, the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, are plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future.
Yeah.
Things like that. I think, you know, yeah, I just knew God was with me. I didn't always know I was going to make it through, because there was a couple of moments where, one in particular, where I made peace with God, because I thought, is this my time?
Yeah.
Thankfully, I did pull through. But yeah, I just think it's more than anything, it's a comfort being a Christian, because you've got an almighty, powerful God who you can call upon anytime.
Yep.
And what's amazing is that in every situation, God has an answer. And it's just been open to be able to hear that. And it's not always an easy thing to do, because things happen in our lives, things are going on around us, and we ourselves as people, we block God out of our life. And it's just opening up your heart and listening to God and thinking, all right, God, what are you saying to me? What have you got in store for me? You know,
Yeah.
So
for someone who might not be a Christian and maybe suffering, the perspective that person could take is that, okay, God's willing to be there in the midst with you. He's willing to take your hand, and he, you know, he's there, willing to be there with you through it all, through thick and thin. You've just got to take his hand. But if you've already taken his hand, he's leading you through it. Is that, would you kind of agree with that, or, you know?
Yeah, sorry, it's quite hard to...
Oh, is the internet going down? I hope not. We're still on live. But if you're having trouble hearing me, then I think that's potentially a time to... Oh, there you go. It's all back and good now. Okay, but I think it might be a good time to end there, Steve. Your story is one of difficulty, strain, stress on a lot of people who know you and care for you. But a lot of determination from your side as well, and true grit.
It is. I mean, I mean, it wasn't just me that went through it. You see, it was my family as well. Like Becky and the children, they suffered greatly emotionally. But like I said, we've got a faith, and we've got God we can call upon, that has got us through this. But yeah, we're just very resilient as a family. You know, it happened. We're dealing with it. We're moving on, and we're getting through it. And a lot of that is by the grace of God. I'm gutted. I'm frustrated that it's happened. You know, it's really slowed me down. And you know, at the moment, there's a lot of things I can't do that I used to be able to do. But it's life. Bad things happen to good and bad people, and it's how you deal with it that, you know, sets you apart. And yeah.
Well, Steve, thank you very much for joining us. I didn't say thank you, and I didn't do the full-on welcome as I should have done, but thank you very much for your time and sharing your story with us. We hope that your recovery doesn't take much longer. If it does, then look after yourself. I'm trying to put my finger as close as I can to this camera here. Is look after yourself and don't rush it. You don't want to set yourself back. But yeah, really appreciate your story. Really appreciate you, and hope to see you soon. Okay. Well, thanks again.
Well, thank you.
And
thank you.
We'll be sharing some of the messages. I'm sure there'll be messages at the bottom of the video at some point. And I'll share them with you.
One last thing I want to say.
All right, okay. Go
Glyn, and I've got a saying, and it's new day, new potential. No matter what your situation, what you're going through, every day is new day. Yesterday has gone. move on from it. Today, tomorrow is a new day full of potential to do good, the potential to be better.
Yep.
Remember that. Say it to yourself every day. New day, new potential. Come on, yeah.
See, this is the sort of stuff I'm talking about. He's Mr. Motivator when he gets going. All right. Well, Steve, God bless you. Take care, and thank you very much.
God bless
Have a good
everyone.
one. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Right. Well, thank you to Steve. Let me just click back onto. Oh, where are we going? Where are we going? There it is. Right. So, my challenge. Let's have a look. Where's my phone? I'm going to have a look if there's anyone who has commented. Let's have a look. I should have this open already, but I don't. Well, as it's the first show, we have been pretty much talking to no one. But I've had a great conversation, and I'm sure if you are watching this after we finish going live, we hope that you enjoy the content. But my challenge, as there's been no comments, I am going to set a challenge for next week, but I'm going to leave it a surprise. Now, the results, there are no results. Now, I am now going to call this a day, but let me just give a very warm thank you and grateful thanks to what is happening here. Thank you to Steve Landon. That was great. And I think he put across the difficulty that he went through, the pain and the anxiety of, is he actually going to get through this? And also struggling with, on one occasion at least, is this going to be my time? And sort of making his peace with God. But through it all, he was able to in some ways be confident that God was with him through the whole thing. So we thank you for his wisdom and his insight into such a difficult situation. Now, next week, we have our special guest, our special interview is with Rachel Round. She is the manager of Food Bank in Rill. Now, you may think, oh, it's Food Bank. Well, that sounds a bit boring. Well, in fact, the purpose why I'm asking Rachel to talk about what she does at Food Bank is actually something that you're not necessarily thinking about. It's about looking beyond yourself to the needs of others and trying and doing what you can to meet those needs. Now, I can understand that if you're a young person or an adult, and that can be a challenge, especially when we're going through similar things, especially in lockdown. But think about it. The world would be a far better place if people practiced looking beyond themselves to others and trying to serve one another. Just imagine that for a bit. Just think about that. Next is, if you've liked this and would like to get notifications as to when we're going live next, which will be next Wednesday at 4 o'clock until about, well, what time is it now? Almost 5. We've done well. Subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you get notifications as to when we're going live and when we put new content up on this channel, GYVOCY. And there you go, guys. I'm going to call it a night. It is now just shy of 5 o'clock, and I'm going to leave you to it. Bye for now. Have a good rest of the week.